as you can probably understand, one of the most important things that is done in philosophy is to try to define things, to understand properly what things are and what makes them what they are. And a really important tool to actually try to do this properly is to consider what the necessary and sufficient conditions are for something to be that something. Let me give you an example. Consider a ball, not any type of ball, just a ball. What are, let's say, the necessary conditions for something being a ball? Well, any ball is spherical, right? Any ball is a spherical object. So much so, in fact, that if you remove that aspect of being a spherical object from a ball, then the object is no longer a ball. That is a necessary condition then, a condition that has to be there for something to be a ball. Now, a sufficient condition is a condition that is enough for something to be something. Look to the ball example again. Let's say that if something is spherical, then it is a ball. Then that is enough for something to be a ball, which would make the aspect of being a spherical object sufficient for being a ball. And then we can complicate things a little bit. Let's talk about footballs in particular. Let's say a football, of course, has to be a ball, so it has to meet all the criteria for being a ball, which we said in this example was only to be a spherical object. But now a football is a specific type of ball, which means that something more needs to be there for our particular object to be a football. And let's say that these conditions would be to be made out of these patches that footballs are made out of. Let's say, for the sake of it, that it also has to have that specific color scheme, that every other patch is black and every other is white, the classical image of a football. So let us assume that for a moment. Then if a ball has these two qualities, then a football has to have these two qualities to be a football. Now, whether that is enough, whether these conditions are sufficient for the ball being a football, maybe not. Maybe it has to be made of a certain material, maybe it has to be hollow and filled with air, and so on. So you start to understand the idea, the concept of necessary and sufficient conditions. And of course, you can do this with yet more complicated concepts, like what is it to be a human being? Okay, so human beings are primates, we are mammals, we are bipedal, we have 2 arms, we have 1 head, we manifest in male and female, etc., etc., right? Now the question here is, out of all of the different qualities, aspects that we can mention as being part of what it is to be human, which ones are necessary conditions? In other words, which one without which we wouldn't be human? Would we still be human, for example, if we remove our bipedalness? Would we still be human if we would remove from us the aspects of being primates or mammals? So on and so forth. And the same thing then with sufficient conditions, which are the sufficient conditions for being a human being. So yeah, now I think you can properly understand the usefulness of thinking about the necessary and sufficient conditions of something to try to get a better grasp at what it is and ultimately, hopefully, define it.